Welcome back, True Seeker. Friday, October 18th, 2024, the 5th anniversary of Event 201, something that sadly most people in the world still don't know about when they all should. It was the simulation of the pandemic the day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, before, of course, the military agenda that did take place, which was the mass jab campaign worldwide. Anyhow, with regards to 201, don't forget that earlier this year, on the 201st day of the leap year, July 19th, 2024, there was the biggest tech outage, which caused problems worldwide. They said billions of profits were lost by businesses on that day. So today, it's the nation of Cuba. Their national power grid goes down. And it went down at 11 a.m. local time. They're on the same time zone as the East Coast of the United States, Cuba. And it just reminds you that, 11's the master number. So many master plans executed in regards to 11. Think about the two towers that became 0 before they became One World Trade Center and how that happened in New York, the 11th state, on the 11th day of the month. And the first plane was AA-11. The pandemic was declared on the 11th of March, which was also the anniversary of them lighting up the big beams in New York after the towers came down. But this 201 thing, it's important to the Jesuits. We are in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live at Suite 201 at the Vatican. And there's a long list behind that 201. The Jesuit history is 201, 201, 201, 201. Klaus Schwab, the Jesuit of the World Economic Forum, who's been simulating power outages worldwide. Again, he was the same guy who put on the Event 201 simulation, Jesuit-educated Klaus Schwab. Now, the other thing that's important, October 18th leaves 74 days left in the year. The word energy equates to 74. The power's out. The energy's out. The headlines say, because Cuba's a poor nation, almost nobody has generators. Could be expensive for everybody who has stuff in fridges and freezers because it looks like the power could be out for a while since it's nationwide. I should also mention the word electricity equates to 129. The number 129 becomes the number 201 in base 8 counting. It's just like how Georgetown equals 129 and it's the first Jesuit university. Of course, the Jesuit order equals 201, like Ignatius of Loyola, who's the founder of the Jesuit order. Just like Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201, who's the first Jesuit pope, Pope Francis, when the Jesuits are from France, and the last French pope was the 201st. Remember, when Pope Francis shook hands with Castro, who was Jesuit educated, Castro died 433 weeks later in a major Jesuit ritual, and then his son died in the exact same pattern. Or it was 433 days, not weeks, excuse me. And then his son died 433 days later. That's the 84th prime number, and the word Jesuit alone is 84. Anyhow, this is who is pulling the strings. Again, they've given us the calendar, the language, and they're in high places all across the world, just like the Catholic churches, who the Jesuits serve. Now, speaking of the Jesuits, today is 25 days before their leader's birthday. Notice how the word energy as well as the word grid also equates to 25. If you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order in reverse, and both orders with numerology applied. Today's date numerology also is 52. Power outage, 52. Energy cut off, and at 11 a.m. local time. Always the 11s at 11 a.m. The other thing that stands out a little bit is where the power plant is in a town called Matanzas, which equates to 95. Remember, the Jesuits were created after Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses, and they were created 201 months later. And again, Martin Luther King Jr. was killed on the 95th day of the year, and the nation's first gun control legislation came 201 days later. But it's kind of like how Event 201 was the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, and the first military World Games were in 95 in Italy, the home of the Vatican and the Jesuits. In modern times, again, they did start in Paris, France. It's where they were created again 201 months after the 95 Theses penned. And we're coming up on that anniversary, which is Halloween. It's the anniversary of Martin Luther penning the 95 Theses. But yeah, just redundant rituals like 95 billion to Israel and Ukraine on the 201st day of the war, and on and on and on. But yeah, hopefully the shenanigans stop there for today. It is a reminder, though. It's Cuba today, could be your town tomorrow. And this is the problem with this world we live in, where a corrupt cabal is controlling things like the power grid. And it's not just Cuba. It's the same Jesuits that run Cuba that run this nation. So yeah, we knew there'd be some kind of shenanigans in the headlines today. And so far, this is the first big one. And again, like I said, I hope it stops there. But yeah, an ounce of preparation is worth a pound of cure. Just make sure you're not living in fear, you're living prepared. You know that this is the world you live in, sadly. If this happens to you, you're prepared. Okay, I'm not tripping. I got my emergency supplies over here. I got some water. I got some non-perishable food. I got first aid. I got flashlights. I got something to protect myself in case things get wild. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And until next time.